ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, people that do all too much, but never enough. Welcome to the Piper Sports Show, podcast, whatever we want to call it. Today, we're talking NFL, we're talking AFC West. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing analysis of every single division in the NFL, my predictions, player MVPs, and we're going to look more so into the statistical side of some players that I believe will be better or could regress. And in the case of some AFC West teams, regression could hit hard. I apologize last week. I didn't do 2 videos. I should have done 2 videos. I just was really busy. I'll get back to the double weekly uploads starting this week. I'll get them to you quickly. Hopefully, just make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Do all the generic YouTube stuff to get me into your mind and get me out there a little bit more. I'd appreciate it. Let's roll it, baby. So we'll start with the Kansas City Chiefs because I believe they have the most interesting off-season so far just because of the Tyreek Hill situation. And for those of you that don't know, Tyreek Hill was accused of domestic abuse. There was a situation in which his son's arm got broken, and there was a phone call recording that ended up saying his significant other should be afraid of him. Now, this isn't an argument on politics or an argument on punishment, but he did not receive any punishment for the investigation. This statement was by the Kansas City Chiefs, put through their website. I will put it on the screen now. Based on the information provided to us by the league, we have decided it is appropriate for Tyreek to return to the team at the start of training camp. The club fully supports the conditions for return laid out by the league and will continue to monitor any new developments in the case. We are glad to welcome Tyreek back to the team and look forward to the start of training camp next week. Now, this was put out a couple days ago. Now, the fortunate thing for Chiefs fans and unfortunate things for AFC West fans is that Tyreek Hill's a talent. He's really good. He's a fast guy that takes the top off the defense, and with a guy that with the arm strength of Patrick Mahomes, it makes it a very good offense and explosive offense that makes it very hard for defenses to catch up. Aside from all the drama, aside from all the politics that goes on in these type of situations, the real winner here is Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill is looking to become one of the highest paid receivers of all time, and most likely will receive an extension in the next upcoming months because the Chiefs are prioritizing this as an offseason move that they believe that they should do. Him and Michael Thomas will probably become the highest paid receivers in the NFL in the next couple months or so, because I know the Saints are going to be extending Michael Thomas, and the Chiefs will love to extend Tyreek Hill. I don't believe this situation will affect all too much, whether or not his contract is different. I think his past issues don't hold far too much weight in the minds of Chiefs fans. My unfortunate thing with the Chiefs is they still lack running back depth. They have outstanding offense, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins. I mean, that team is still dominant, and they still have a bunch of talent. Now, the unfortunate part that comes with this is that they lack in running back depth, and they don't really have all too much cap space after they intend to re-sign some of their players. That's kind of why they left Eric Berry in the dust and ended up getting rid of him this offseason, was to potentially pay some other players and maintain what they have now. Now, they ended up trading Dee Ford away, and they ended up getting Frank Clark back. Frank Clark from the Seahawks, Dee Ford goes to the Seahawks. I feel like the trade itself, and I kind of discussed this a while back, was a little bit of an overpayment. They paid a first-round pick for Frank Clark, and granted, Frank Clark is younger, but he's similarly talented to Dee Ford. Now, Dee Ford was the one that jumped offside in the postseason last year against the Patriots, in which the Patriots ended up winning because of that. It negated an interception that would have ended the game. Most likely ended the game. I don't find the Frank Clark trade all too smart, but I get it. They paid him a big contract this offseason. The future will only tell. My record prediction for the Kansas City Chiefs is a tough one. I mean, you could say that their offense is complete and as complete as last year, But Patrick Mahomes had kind of that season that was so crazy that you don't know if he can perform it again. You don't know if he's going to be the MVP level again. Most likely he will. But I think this team is a solid lock for 12-4 or 13-3. I'm leaning more towards 13-3 going into the next season. My player MVP prediction, Patrick Mahomes. That's pretty simple. Patrick Mahomes is the leader of the offense. He had an MVP last year. There's nothing saying that he won't have an MVP year this year other than potential sophomore slump. He's not a sophomore. He's technically a junior, but it's his second season starting. Sophomore slumps can hit. And even with Andy Reid as your coach, your offense still could be affected. Secondly, we'll move to the Oakland Raiders. John Gruden. We have Derek Carr, Antonio Brown, Vontaze Burfict. Oh, a sea of personality and a sea of talent, arguably. Now the question is, will Derek Carr excel in the new offense with these new talents that are on the team? Will Antonio Brown click? Will he be the number one receiver that he can be after getting, traded there from the Steelers? Is Oakland in playoff contention? Potentially. I think the division is what can limit them. There's so much talent in this division. I think that there are potentially 3 teams in this division that can be above 500, which kind of limits your success. There's no chance, I don't see the Oakland Raiders winning the division just because the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers are more or less in the way. But could Derek Carr return to a elite MVP form? Yeah, I think he can. I think there's so much talent on this offense. They drafted a running back, Josh Jacobs, in the first round, who I really, really liked. And they have Derek Carr and Antonio Brown. They have a dominant, talented team. The question is, can they mix with chemistry, locker room, and will John Gruden be able to wrangle all the egos on this team into one? It could be good. We'll see. Will Gruden come to life this year? I think Gruden has the chance to come to life. I think he's a good coach for players to be disciplined. He's a good disciplined coach because he was a coach all those years back. It comes down to, can he make this offense click very, very well? I think Gruden can, but I think it's going to take him another year to get fully reinvested into the modern offense and the modern schemes. I think another year Oakland will be very, very good. My team prediction kind of comes down to I can see this team anywhere between 5-11 all the way up to 10-6. It's a really, really broad range. I see them kind of slotting in third in the division just with how things are turning out. But my genuine prediction, I'm going to go 7-9 for the Oakland Raiders this year. I don't think they're a bad team. I don't think that they should be predicted anywhere lower than 5-11. The Los Angeles Chargers, the Phillip Rivers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams show, Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, Melvin Gordon, Derwin James, who I love. This team is unbelievably talented. They have pass rushers, they have linebackers, they have outstanding secondary, and then they have a balanced, powerful offense. I mean, there's not all too many gaps on this team. I think what's really going to limit them or potentially carry them is the play of Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is getting up there in age. He's in that mid to late 30s stage. The question is, will he regress? If he regresses, this team falls below division leaders, falls below that 12-11 win mark if he regresses. Now, if he performs at a great level and he has the talent around him to help him, I feel like he could become a 4,500-yard passer this season with somewhere in the realm of 30 to 35 touchdowns, potential MVP form just because of the talent around him. Now, the question is, will his dominant running back, Melvin Gordon, stay? Will he hold out for a new contract, or will he be traded? There is a lot of drama and controversy around whether he will hold out, and he deserves money because he will perform, and he has been an elite running back in the past couple years. The question is, will you pay him? Will you trade him? Is he expendable in your eyes? I don't see him as expendable, but I can see him if the money's far too high, if it's anywhere above $13 to $14 million a year that you're going to pay for him, I would potentially look to re-sign other players, and then trade them elsewhere. The question is, after that, who do you have at running back? But all for hypotheticals. The Chargers are going to be good. They're going to be good. They're going to fall nowhere below 500. This team is still very, very talented. I predict this team going 11-5 in the next season, so that sets the Chiefs up at 13-3, Chargers 11-5, and then Raiders at 7-9. If this was a weaker division, then I could say the Chargers would potentially win the division at 12-4, but the Chiefs just kind of knock them out of contention for a higher rating. I love the offense. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are so great together. It's a great 1-2 combo. Similarly, Hunter Henry's coming back healthy. If Hunter Henry comes back healthy, then you can say this team is probably one of the best in the NFL on offense. My record prediction gave that to 11-5. My player MVP prediction, there's so many talented players, but I'm going to go Derwin James. He's going to develop even more. He's so young, but he is a dominant player in the secondary. He will show that he will become one of the best players in the NFL in near time. He's the next Earl Thomas with some hit power. And finally, I know most of my fans are Denver Broncos fans. That's why I put it at the end of the video so that I can get that watch time. Denver Broncos, Drew Lock, Joe Flacco. Who's going to be your starter all year? Obviously Flacco's going to be your starter to start the year, but will Drew Lock pick it up later in the season? Will he prove that he's ready? Will Joe Flacco get hurt and then Drew Lock has to come in? That's the question that comes down. Who do you want to run with if you're a Denver Broncos fan? I would say you're going to run with Joe Flacco at first, and then depending on how he plays, and I don't think he's going to be all too horrible. I don't think he's going to be an Eli Manning. I think he'll perform decently. He hasn't had too many 4,000-yard seasons in his career. The question is, will Joe Flacco perform at a high level? Maybe. I feel like he can perform at an average level at minimum. Is he elite? No. That's the meme. That's all the memes. But you have a young core. You have Phillip Lindsay. You have Royce Freeman. You have Cortland Sutton. You have a young team. Jake Butt. You just drafted Noah Fant. You're putting young, fast players around him that can make plays, and Joe Flacco doesn't necessarily have to carry the team. Now, my major concern with Flacco is if his ego makes him try to do too much. You're a field manager at this point in your career. You're not trying to make giant plays downfield. Your job is to put the ball in the hands of your talented and playmaking players. And that is Phillip Lindsay, Royce Freeman, and Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant. That's your real ability there. That's your real chance of success. Can the Broncos make a wild card spot? Maybe. Now, they are in this kind of odd rebuilding phase. They need a quarterback. They need a leader on that team. Flacco can do this. Can he lead them to a playoff berth? Maybe. But I could see it being a wild card 2 berth just with the amount of talent in the AFC right now. Now, unfortunately, my record prediction stands a little bit different, but I'll say this first. As a caveat, Bradley Chubb is the best pass rusher in the past 3 drafts. Here's my evidence why. So this is rating every single player above him, every single young player drafted in the past 3 years above him in sack rankings. Last season was Bradley Chubb's first season in the NFL. Chris Jones was ranked above him. He had 16.5 sacks in the last season. He's had 24 in the past 3 seasons. Now, he's a defensive interior guy. Bradley Chubb's more of a defensive end linebacker type, versatile. Myles Garrett, everybody remembers Myles Garrett going number 1 overall. He was a freak of nature and performed extremely, extremely well. But in 2 seasons, he's had 20.5 sacks. Very, very good, don't get me wrong, but it's not record-breaking numbers. Now, Myles Garrett's more complete than Bradley Chubb. You can argue run-stopping ability and physical talent. Myles Garrett has that category, but Bradley Chubb is developing and is only in his rookie year. DeForest Buckner, 21 sacks in 3 seasons. Could be traded in the near future. Depends on what the 49ers want to do. But 21 sacks, averaging 7 sacks a season. TJ Watt, 20 sacks in 2 seasons. Very similar numbers to Myles Garrett. Late first-round pick in TJ Watt. More of a linebacker, but a very, very good pass rusher nonetheless. Now, here's the thing. Bradley Chubb outpaces every single one of those young pass rushers in sacks per season, and you can only predict that he's going to get better. In the past season, Bradley Chubb had 12 sacks, tied with players like DeForest Buckner. It was his rookie season. He led all rookies in sack numbers. Bradley Chubb is not only the future, but if he develops the way that people believe he will, he could average maybe 16 sacks in the next season and potentially could crack that 18 to 20 mark in the near future. He's under outstanding pass rushers like Von Miller. He has great mentors like John Elway and DeMarcus Ware. He has the future ahead of him, and he has potentially Hall of Fame levels of numbers in front of him. Now, the question is, will he perform next year? Yeah, he will. He's going to have 16 sacks next season. 4 spike isn't all too bad. He's the next Dwight Freeney of this generation. Potentially the next Jason Taylor. He's going to be one of the best pass rushers, but that's my opinion. Now, that's my caveat. I'm going to say that before I say the Broncos record. Please, Denver fans, don't lambast me. You guys are going 4-12. I'm sorry, but there isn't too much to say. You guys are rebuilding. You don't have a true number one quarterback. You still have quarterback controversy. You have a young team that's still developing. The future is bright, though. You have great players. You have great talent. And the future is really, really bright for your team. My player MVP prediction is going to be... between 3 players. You guys decide in the comment section below, but between my 3, Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, Chris Harris. Nobody on the offense is just yet on that level to be an MVP, but Von Miller's proved in the past that he can be the best player. Chris Harris Jr. is one of the best corners in the game, and Bradley Chubb is a rising defensive talent that potentially could take that role as the player MVP. You guys tell me in the comments if I did anything wrong. And I would love if you guys would leave a like or subscribe, show this to your friends. I appreciate everything you guys do for me. This has been an episode of the Piper Sports Show podcast. It's an episode of Piper Sports. Come back next time. There'll be another video this week. Bye.